Hey, it's Joe, and welcome back to Humanfluence. You know, I get a lot of flack for making these videos. I get why. What I talk about here challenges a lot of deeply held beliefs. It's not easy to hear that the story you've known might not be the full picture. But what if, just maybe, there's some truth here, even if it's not what you were taught? Not here to tear down anyone's beliefs, just to offer a perspective that might shed light on parts of the picture we rarely discuss. It can be uncomfortable to face the idea that things might not be exactly as they seem. That doesn't mean we've been lied to. It just means the story has more layers. So let's take this journey together. What if these symbols and stories contain truths that go beyond the surface? What if they're about more than we think? For instance, the idea that only 144,000 people will be saved. That's a common interpretation of Revelation. You mean to tell me it's not Jesus personally selecting 144,000 people to take to heaven? What if that number isn't about a literal head count, but about something more profound? Let's dive in, peel back the layers, and see what these ancient symbols might really mean. In a world seeking light amidst darkness, we enlighten minds, we awaken souls. Together we ignite the spark of transformation. For when you confront your own shadow, you unveil your inner light. Humanfluence, creating a new reality. So, let's start by talking about the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. On the surface, these horsemen, conquest, war, famine, and death, are often seen as symbols of chaos and catastrophe, harbingers of the end times. They're powerful images, sure, but what if there's a deeper meaning here? You see, when we view them through the lens of astro-theology, they begin to align with something a bit more cosmic, something embedded in the very fabric of the universe. Each of these horsemen correlates with the four cardinal signs of the zodiac: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Now, why is this significant? Well, these cardinal signs mark the solstices and equinoxes, key points in the cycle of the seasons. As I've covered in many videos in ancient traditions, these weren't just points on a calendar. They represented pillars of creation, cosmic forces that governed life, death, and everything in between. Aries, the ram, embodies war, symbolizing the fiery energy of spring, a time of new beginnings, but also of battles for survival. Cancer, which aligns with famine, is tied to summer and the nurturing or withholding of sustenance. Libra, linked to conquest, represents autumn, a time of reaping and balance, often involving struggle and redistribution of resources. Capricorn, with death, marks winter, a period of decay, rest, and the end of the cycle, making way for rebirth. So the Four Horsemen aren't just random symbols of destruction. They reflect cosmic cycles, the changing seasons, the eternal balance of life and death, and the universal forces that guide us. They remind us that transformation is constant and inevitable, and that these forces operate both on a global scale and within each of us, aligning us with the greater universe. Now let's move on to the seven seals, another powerful and often misunderstood symbol in Revelation. On the surface, they're seen as a series of catastrophic events that unfold as each seal is opened. What if they're pointing to something far more personal? Again, in astro-theology, the seven seals correlate with the seven classical planets: the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, each believed by ancient cultures to govern different aspects of life. But there's another layer here too, one that hits closer to home. The seven seals can also be linked to the seven chakras, the energy centers within the human body. When these chakras are aligned and activated, they represent a journey of spiritual awakening. Each chakra, from the root at the base of the spine to the crown at the top of the head represents a different aspect of our physical, emotional, and spiritual experience. So as each seal is opened, it mirrors the process of awakening each chakra. The root chakra connects us to our sense of security and survival, much like the first seal releasing conquest. The sacral chakra relates to emotions and creativity, resonating with the second seal's energy of conflict. And so it continues up to the crown chakra, which represents spiritual enlightenment and our connection to the divine. Now, the opening of the seventh seal, then, might symbolize this full awakening of spiritual consciousness. And this brings us to the 144,000, another intriguing symbol. Many believe this number refers to the chosen ones who will be saved. But in the context of chakras, it takes on a different meaning. You see, the chakras are traditionally depicted as lotus petals, each with a certain number of petals. When all chakras are fully awakened, they're said to have 144,000 petals in total, representing this state of complete spiritual enlightenment. So rather than a literal head count, the 144,000 represents those who have attained enlightenment and aligned themselves with the divine, those who have awakened their own inner divinity. The seven seals, then, aren't just about planetary forces or cosmic calamities. They're about personal transformation. They guide us through the process of awakening, helping us align with the cosmic rhythms that influence not just the world around us, but the very essence of who we are. Now let's tackle one of the more intense symbols in Revelation. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. At first glance, it sounds like something straight out of a nightmare. An ominous creature signaling the ultimate destruction. But when we look at this through astro-theological lenses, we find that layers of meaning speak to the interplay of chaos and order in the universe. The beast could symbolize constellations like Cetus, the sea monster, or Draco, the dragon. Both constellations have been linked to ancient stories about monstrous beings, often representing the forces of chaos lurking in the cosmos. Another interpretation ties the beast to the Pleiades, a star cluster within the constellation Taurus, known for its mystical significance across various cultures. The Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters, symbolize cosmic cycles and spiritual awakenings. But why the 7 heads and 10 horns? Well, in numerology, 7 is associated with spiritual enlightenment, while 10 signifies completion or the full cycle. The 7 heads could reflect the chakras or the 7 planets, while the 10 horns might represent the wholeness of cosmic cycles, each horn marking a stage in this eternal dance between creation and destruction. Rather than a literal beast, the creature becomes a metaphor for divine chaos, a necessary counterpart to order. It embodies the darker, unpredictable aspects of existence that balance out the light. Ancient cultures understood that both order and disorder were essential forces within the universe, creating a dynamic equilibrium that keeps the cosmos in balance. The beast reminds us that chaos isn't something to be feared. It's a part of this cosmic order, an ever-present force that drives growth, change, and transformation. Next, we turn our attention to another striking symbol, the woman clothed with the sun, standing on the moon with a crown of 12 stars. Now, this might seem like an image of divine beauty, but it's also rooted in this cosmic and astrological symbolism. This woman is often linked to Virgo, the Virgin constellation. Virgo is traditionally associated with fertility, harvest, and the divine feminine, attributes of a nurturing and motherly figure. Her presence represents Mother Earth and the creative force that sustains life. She's clothed with the sun, symbolizing illumination and life-giving energy. Just as the sun is essential for all life on Earth, the 12 stars around her head, these are the 12 zodiac signs, a reference to the complete cycle of cosmic influence. But it goes even deeper. The the woman's child, often interpreted as Jesus, is born and destined to rule all nations with an iron rod. Through astro-theology, we can see Jesus as a son figure, the Son of God and the literal sun that brings light and life to the world. Think about it. Jesus is often called the light of the world, and the sun is the source of all physical light on earth. Just as the sun rises and sets each day, Jesus is said to die and be resurrected. I made another video on this. I'll link it here. This mirrors the seasonal cycles of the sun, which were celebrated in ancient myths surrounding deities who would die at the winter solstice and be reborn as the days grew longer. So this woman clothed with the sun is not just a symbol of divine femininity. She's also a representation of cosmic unity, embodying the balance between masculine and feminine, day and night, life and death. She reflects a deeper truth, that the story of Jesus aligns with ancient patterns of sun worship and celestial cycles, connecting him to a cosmic narrative that transcends any single religion. Finally, we reach the vision of the New Jerusalem, a city with 12 gates, each representing one of the 12 tribes of Israel, and by extension, the 12 signs of the zodiac. But here's the thing, the city isn't just some futuristic utopia. In astro-theology, the New Jerusalem is a symbol of cosmic unity and a state of spiritual alignment with the universe. Let's break it down. The number 12 appears repeatedly here, just as it does in various spiritual and cosmic systems. The 12 months of the year, 12 disciples, 12 hours on a clock, and of course the 12 signs of the zodiac. This isn't random. 12 is a number associated with wholeness and completion, a full cycle that represents universal order. In the context of the New Jerusalem, it represents an alignment with the celestial and spiritual realms, tying us into the very fabric of cosmic harmony. Again, there's more. The dimensions of New Jerusalem are said to align with sacred geometry, proportions like the golden ratio that appear throughout nature, from the spirals of galaxies to the shape of seashells. These proportions were revered in ancient cultures as expressions of divine perfection. New Jerusalem's structure reminds us that true spiritual enlightenment involves reconnecting with these natural patterns and finding our place within the cosmic design. In this way, it's not a physical place, but a spiritual state. It invites us to align ourselves with this divine order that permeates all things, bringing us into harmony with the rhythms of the universe. It's about becoming one with the cosmic flow, experiencing spiritual rebirth, and achieving unity with the greater whole. The message here is that salvation isn't found in escaping this world, but in rediscovering our connection to it. Realizing that we're part of an intricate celestial tapestry that extends far beyond ourselves. And here's what most people don't realize. The church took this tapestry of cosmic wisdom and spiritual insight and reframed it to fit its own agenda. Revelation wasn't originally about some divine wrath that would befall anyone who stepped out of line. No, what we have here is a story co-opted, repackaged, and then used as a tool for control. Instead of embracing it as a journey towards this cosmic and personal alignment, the church reinterpreted it as a story of eternal punishment, where fear became the binding force. Think about it. By turning the 7 seals into harbingers of literal disaster, the church was able to grip its followers in existential terror. The church was able to hold its followers in a grip of existential terror. The Four Horsemen became tools for enforcing submission, each one a vivid reminder of the consequences of falling out of line. And then there's that infamous number, the 144,000, used to create a sense of exclusivity and urgency. They pushed the idea that only a select few would be saved, that heaven was a gated community with limited access. But what if that number doesn't represent a literal headcount at all? These symbols, originally designed to guide us towards spiritual awakening, became symbols of obedience. Revelation was twisted from a narrative of cosmic alignment into a chilling reminder that only through absolute submission could one avoid hellfire. It's like they took a map to the stars and turned it into a warning sign, complete with flames and judgment. They even went so far as to reduce the 144,000 to a limited access club, implying that unless you're one of the few, your chances of salvation are slim. But this is the fully awakened individual, those who have reached a state of divine consciousness. It's not about limited access. It's about expanded awareness. It's about achieving a state of enlightenment, so profound that you transcend the material plane and align with the cosmic truth. So here's the real question. What if revelation was never meant to be about fearing the end, but about understanding our role within the eternal cycles of the universe? What if it's not a set of strict rules to follow, but an invitation to recognize that we're part of this cosmic order? These symbols, the Four Horsemen, the Seven Seals, the Beast, New Jerusalem, they are not just tools for scaring people into submission, they're markers on a spiritual journey that leads to self-realization and universal connection. We're talking about a cosmic dance, one where each of us has a role to play, not as isolated beings, but as pieces of something much larger. So what if instead of fearing revelation, we embraced it as a guide back to our true nature? Because here's the truth bomb. Revelation isn't about punishment, it's about awakening. It's about reconnecting with the stars, with the universe, and with ourselves. It is a reminder that we're not meant to live in fear, but to seek the light of understanding. So let's set aside the fear. Look past the veil, see revelation for what it is. A cosmic blueprint for spiritual alignment, urging us to remember that we're part of an ancient, timeless story that's been guiding humanity since the beginning. And here's the kicker. The church's version of the Gospels leaves out profound messages hidden for centuries, until they were rediscovered in the Nag Hammadi texts. These texts, like the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Philip, and many more, reveal a deeply spiritual, almost mystical Jesus. He spoke of an inner journey rather than external salvation, saying the kingdom of heaven is within you, and it is outside of you. A call to look inward for divine connection. He taught that true understanding comes from observing nature's inherent wisdom, advising, look to the birds, look to the fish, they precede you into the kingdom. He spoke of our origins and our destiny, proclaiming we are born of the light, and to the light we shall return, hinting at our eternal nature. In the Gospel of Philip, he challenged the idea of material attachment, suggesting those who drink from my mouth will become as I am, and I shall be as they are, which emphasizes a deep, transformative unity with the divine. Jesus even addressed the importance of shedding illusions, saying, when you shake off your wine, then you shall know me. Suggesting that to see truth, we must let go of distractions that cloud our vision. These teachings paint a picture of a Jesus who emphasized self-knowledge, inner light, and a personal connection to God, free from the fear-driven dogma that later interpretations imposed. Humanfluence, out.